In today's video, I'm going to discuss about Walt Disney and what I learned by reading his biography and by watching videos and reading articles about him, and how you can see the kind of visionary Walt Disney was, and how maybe consciously or unconsciously he used manifestation techniques to get his things come into his life. So my name is Rohit and welcome to my channel. And I've been studying about law of attraction manifestation for years now, and my goal with this channel is to help people expand their awareness and get in touch with their higher self. So Walt Disney is one of the most iconic characters in history. His biography is one of the most recommended biographies out there to read. And the most interesting thing about Walt Disney is that he had this vision of what he wanted his animated characters to look like, and he brought them to reality. And also he had this vision about Disneyland, and he held on to that vision for years, for decades, before it came to reality. And that's why when people say, what is the reason for your motivation or your vision, and I see he was really connected to the why he wanted to do it. He wanted to make people happy, he wanted to spread joy, he wanted to bring excitement, fun, and also wanted to bring some magical sense of magic, of creativity into the current world. That was his dream. And so I would like to just read through a few points and few challenges he had before he actually got to where he was, and the kind of failures he had to face. So his very first attempt, you need to know, the very first attempt is Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. That was the character he had, and that was legally taken away from him from another animator, and that was a huge loss for Walt Disney. He was disappointed, he was really depressed for a while, but he still held on to that vision of bringing joy to people's faces, children's faces, and also creating that character, that iconic character he wanted to make. So lo and behold, we came across Mickey Mouse. And so I'm just gonna read a few lines. So I was just gonna pull up some information on Oswald the Rabbit. And if you look at Oswald the Rabbit, his initial illustrations, they are very similar to Mickey Mouse. The difference is the ears, basically, and a little bit of his eyes and his facial structures, which is slightly different from Mickey Mouse. But that was the iconic character. And you need to know, like, if you are an artist, right, and if you put your heart and soul into something and that is taken away from you, it's a big it's almost like losing a child. It's very devastating for any artist. And I know that because I love music and I compose music and I make music too. So I know when things like that happen, that can be really devastating to an artist. Despite this setback, Walt Disney had this vision of this character being on the screen, lighting up people's faces, putting a smile on their face, and that vision, he had already planted that seed. As you say in manifestation, he has already seen himself creating that character, and through a series of events happened, and then this character was brought to life as the beloved Mickey Mouse we know. And I think he also had to, like, a lot of people rejected Mickey Mouse too, and that he's not gonna do well, he's like this and that. But then nobody wanted Mickey Mouse cartoons as first, but he kept trying, and eventually he got the success he was looking for, right? You need to know, during this time, Walt Disney stayed true to his vision, and he just knew in his heart that this is going to happen. And I think part of this was the manifestation. He probably imagined it in his mind's eye sometime, somewhere, and he impressed it in his subconscious mind that he's gonna create something like that. And through a series of events happened, and then this thing became a reality. And he literally was living off beans or just very minimal food. His family was just barely getting by through these years, but he knew in his heart that this vision was going to come true. And finally, he had a big hit with Mickey Mouse cartoons in the late 1920s, right? And then other movies like Bambi, Pinocchio, and other movies were created, which which later on became like the more popular movies, right? So, and Walt Disney believed in this concept of what he called as like plussing, which is like kaizen in the Japanese, where you always try to improve your animation, constantly improving it, adding some layers to it. And this was the thing which happened. But to realize like the kind of success Walt Disney had was like very late in his life. You know, he was driven by making people happy and making an impact, contribution to this world, but he was also driven a lot by financial insecurity, because in his childhood he wasn't in the most well-off family, and then later on in his life, you know, before Mickey Mouse and Bambi and other movies became hit and started giving him a lot of money, he was barely scraping by. His family was struggling. They were struggling to put food on the table, and Walt Disney was trying really, really hard to make sure he has enough finances for his family, for his children, for everyone. So this financial insecurity was like driving him to a large extent. But from what I've read is like he had like conflicting beliefs in his mind about wealth too, because somehow he had like this idea like for wealth he needs to work really, really hard, or it's gonna take a long time for him to come, for the wealth to come, or maybe he has some bad beliefs about money. It's not explicitly mentioned in his books, but maybe he thought like money might make him more selfish or something like that. He had you could sense by the kind of, you know, the back and forth which is going with money and finances in his books, that he wasn't really like super like thrilled with the idea of having a lot of money. There was like some things behind it. So this is important when it comes to understanding about manifestation, because you can drop a seed. Let's say you imagine a scene that you have $100,000, right? And you imagine it and you replay the scene multiple times in your mind's eye from a first person's point of view. So that then is imprinted in your conscious mind. Ideally, before you go to bed or in a relaxed, sleepy, drowsy state, you impress this scene in your mind, and then it gets imprinted in your subconscious mind. And then the series of incidents happen, a bridge of incidents happen, which will take you to the end where this dream or this vision will become a reality. It is basically a reality already in your mind's eye. When you impressed it on your subconscious mind, it's going to get reflected in a 3D world. But another challenge which I came across was like I was doing this manifesting kind of experiment, scripting, and I was able to do some almost seemingly impossible things. I was able to achieve those seemingly impossible things, but the biggest problem here was, even though I achieved these seemingly impossible things, I always struggled with money. I always, and sometimes still do, but I've gotten so much better at it. But all the other things related to health, related to fitness, relationships, travel, difficult circumstances in business or in career, I would get over those challenges using manifestation. But with money, I would always have some challenges. And then I had to really dive deep into why I was having these challenges with money, because I had some beliefs underneath that which were really making my life more challenging than it needed to be. For example, I've mentioned in my previous videos that my dad always said you have to work really, really hard to earn a lot of money, and he said with hard work anything is possible. So in my mind's eye, it was always like I need to work really, 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 really hard to make a lot of money. And guess what? I worked hard, but I couldn't work really, 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 really hard. So I always felt like I don't deserve the money. So I wouldn't take some actions which would give me a lot of money. And then I had like some bad beliefs. Like sometimes my mom would say, having too much wealth is not good, but she wouldn't explain it why, but she would just say having too much wealth is not good, having too much this is not good. And I did not understand why would she say that. Having too much wealth is not good. I didn't understand. I didn't get it. But those kind of negative beliefs around money, actually, kind of like, it's like you are driving a car. You have a pedal on the gas. At the same time, you have the pedals on the brakes. So these bad beliefs, or these are imprinted in your subconscious mind. You have to release them one by one. So you have to, you can ease off the brakes, and the faster you can go. So sometimes just by changing one belief, magically a lot of things can change. Drastic. Sometimes you might have to change 5, maybe 10 small beliefs related to that belief. So how do you actually change belief? What you do is you find either a contrary proof, which kind of convinces your subconscious mind, and then your conscious mind is convinced, and then it slowly imprints on your subconscious, which is a time-taking process. Or what you can do is you can do affirmations, or you can do subliminal tapes about wealth, and you can write the contrarian beliefs in those subliminal tapes or in those affirmations. For example, you can say money is a tool, and it just enhances the qualities you already have in you. So if you're a good person, it makes you even more of a better person. So it is just a tool. It doesn't have it's nothing inherently bad or good about it. So just imagine money is a tool. I'm a good person, and it's gonna make me even more of a good person, even a better person. And it's just an affirmation I did, and I said, with more money I can have more impact. Yeah. So these kind of and with more money I can do more good in this world, right? So these kinds of affirmations or subliminal tapes I made, this actually over time got slowly imprinted into my subconscious mind. And guess what? I don't have any negative. Maybe a very little tiny bit of it, but most of the negative things around wealth are gone. So maybe Walt Disney had that. So for the Disney World to become a reality in I think it was on 1955, Disneyland was open. So, and he had this idea in his mind in 1925. So it took him 30 years. Maybe longer, maybe he had this earlier, for his dream to become a reality. And a lot of these things behind it is why it took him so long, is because he had these ideas in his mind's eye that he might have to work very hard. It's going to take a long amount of time. You might have heard this kind of affirmation going around on the internet. Money comes to me easily, effortlessly, from multiple resources and in multiple streams of income, something like that. I've heard from Bob Proctor and some other people, something similar. You have money, it doesn't take too long, it's not too effort consuming, and it comes not from just one source, it comes from multiple sources. And it comes on a consistent basis, continuously. Right? So if you say that over and over again, and when it gets impressed in your subconscious mind, guess what? So many bad beliefs around this, the contrary beliefs to this statement, are overridden, right, by this statement. If you think you need a lot of hard work to get a lot of money, when you say money comes to me effortlessly, initially your mind will be like, yeah, crap. But when you're going to sleep or in a sleepy drowsy state, that's when your subconscious is more susceptible. And when you tell your subconscious mind in that point of time that money comes to me easily and effortlessly, it gets impressed in your subconscious mind. And then this thought of you need to work really hard, or it's going to take a really long time, you can say money comes to me quickly, easily, and effortlessly. So if you think money is going to take a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and a lot of effort, all these three beliefs are overwritten by this small statement. So I guess if he knew about it, and if he had done this earlier, he could have shortened the time it took for his plan, the point he had this inception of this idea in his mind, and to when the idea became reality. The thing is, we cannot really control time in manifestation, But what we can do is we can make the path for the seed to grow easier, or make it easier for our manifestation to come to reality. Because when we tackle all these bad beliefs around this main goal, it actually, for example, there's a seed and there are like a bunch of pebbles over it. It's gonna take a seed a lot of effort to like the plant to grow and come out, right? Because the plant has to like push through the pebbles to develop strength, pressure, and it might not get enough light, might not get enough water. There's a lot of struggle. But like, let's say these bad beliefs are like stones around it. So even if you take off like 2-3 stones, it's gonna make the process faster. If you take like about 80% of the stone, it's gonna make it so much more easier. If you take about all of them, it's gonna make it so easier. So that's why even like removing 2-3 of the bad beliefs can really suddenly catapult your life to a next level, because you're not constantly stuck in this paradigm of like, okay, I know this, but at the same time I do not know this, right? So you know that you know this, but at the same time you're not like, okay, I'm not getting any results, so maybe you don't have doubts about it, because you kind of like remove the bad beliefs, and then you know that you've impressed in your subconscious mind. So it just, whatever time frame it is, the less time it's going to take. So the more congruent your beliefs are to the goals you want to have in your life, the more congruent it will become. Excuse me, I think I'm getting a call. My apologies, sorry, there was a call. So what I was saying is that, if our imagination, or the kind of image we've impressed on your subconscious mind, that vision we have is like a seed planted in the soil, and we have these bad beliefs which are like rocks over the soil, it's just going to make it difficult for the seed to come up. Eventually the seed will come up, eventually that will become a reality, but it's going to take a lot longer than I expected. We may not be able to control the exact time when things happen, but if we kind of like work on the bad beliefs or the beliefs around those things which make it more easier, it's gonna become faster, right? For example, you want to be a great singer, but you always believe and you always say, I cannot sing, this cannot happen for me, I cannot sing. Is this a belief supporting you, or it's gonna just hinder your progress to becoming a singer, right? Or you can say, oh, it's gonna take me a lot of practice to become a great singer. So guess what is going to happen? You will have to do a lot of practice to become a great singer. So, or if you can say, I find optimal ways to practice which really shorten my efforts and time taken to become a great singer. And guess what will happen? It will take less time and effort to become a great singer, because that is the kind of belief you had around singing. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, even if you are not 100% into manifesting stuff, you can still see how much impact it makes on your psyche, on your psychology, on your mental state, when you have beliefs which are in opposition to what you want or in alignment to what you want. It makes a huge difference. So this is one. There are a couple of points I wanted to touch on before we end this video. So like when Walt Disney made this Disneyland, there were a lot of malfunctioning, like some of the instruments were not working, there were like some issues with the television coverage, and there was some problem, there were like too many people, but it became a huge hit and it finally paid off, right? And his dream or his vision to make people happy became a reality, because a lot of people who go to Disneyland, they are really happy there. It's a very fun, loving, happy place, especially the children who go there, or the kids. They're really happy, and so that vision became a reality. So what we need to see is, despite the setbacks, you can call setbacks, Walt Disney did not give up on his mission, on his vision, because he knew, and he just believed in it. So this is when I really like the lecture by Neville Goddard, which is about buying the pearl, and really love this lecture because the pearl of great price. Sorry, Pearl of Great Price. And in the Pearl of Great Price, he says you have to buy the pearl. You have to believe in manifestation completely, or in your vision completely, irrespective of what happens in your 3D world. Irrespective, and you have to drop all the other things. So if you believe in astrology, you need to let it go. If you need to believe in other kind of certain things, you just need to let it go, because it's just gonna come in the way of your vision or your manifestation to come to fruition. So you just need to let it go. And that is what I think Walt Disney did, maybe unconsciously, not knowing completely consciously that he was doing it, that he had really bought the pearl. He had really bought into his vision, and he wouldn't budge despite the setbacks. And he just persevered, and he believed in it. But I think because he believed in it, and he already saw it in his mind's eye that it's possible, and it felt so real to him that it is true. That perseverance was like a natural byproduct of it. It wasn't something that he did consciously. He believed that it's going to happen, and then that's what happened. So that's what I wanted to share. I mean, the more I read these biographies, and it kind of makes me realize that it wasn't just the character or the skills or the people's skills or the technical skills or whatever skills these people had. A lot of it was their mindset, their beliefs. A lot of them also believed in manifestations and law of attraction kind of things, and that really helped them achieve their vision in their life or the goals, whatever they wanted to achieve. I hope you found some great value out of this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel so I can create more content and can reach more people. And until then, I wish you great success in your manifesting journey. Take care. Cheers.